So the Mezcal CRM, what does the CRM stand for?
Consejo Regulador del Mezcal.
Thank you, because I was not going to remember that, Alex. But that's really what sets the standards for Mezcal, and it started around 1994, 95, if I remember correctly, somewhere around that time. But it set the standards for the processes, industrial, artisanal, and ancestral. So Alex, tell me a little bit about the process of industrial mezcal.
Most of the people in the world, they don't want industrial products, right? But actually in the process and the norms in Mexico, we have three different forms to making mezcal: ancestral, artisanal, and industrial. But with the industrial process, you have more sustainable and sustainability. They use steel, right? They use autoclaves with steam. They use, for the mulch, it's a mechanical mulch. They don't use taonas, or sometimes they use taonas, but it's mechanical without burro or animals, right? For the rules, obviously. And they use tanks, steel tanks for fermentation process, and they control the temperature inside of the tanks, right? That's very important because in artisanal process, it's the temperature, natural temperature, and yeast natural, and that's the difference, right? You have controls for the ovens, controls for the mulch, control for the fermentation, and obviously control for the distillation process to make a better heads and tails and body.
Can you use commercial yeast in industrial mezcal?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the rules allow you to do that?
Exactly. Yeah. They permit use commercial yeast, but in the ancestral and artisanal process, they use the natural yeast in the zone.
Yeah, and to give industrial distilleries some credit, they can choose between whether they use commercial or natural yeast, but...
Yeah, but another difference is the sustainable. Yeah. You have more sustainable because you don't use wood for the ovens or for the distillation process, no? Mexico have a rule 070, the norm of Mexico. That's the rules for the different process of mezcal, ancestral and artisanal and industrial. But the main difference between the artisanal and another types, it's they use concrete for the ovens, or they use rooms for the ovens, and it's possible to use wood or steam, right? That's for the cooking agave. And then for the mulch, they permit use the taona or trapiche. That's another type of mulch.
Essentially, you can use a mechanized mulch.
That's possible. Mechanized for the mulch. Maybe with a different projects, they use a motorcycle, a run of the taona, or they use a burro, a donkey, or they use a horses, a tractor for a farm tractor. Depends of the capacity of the producers, right? And the next step for the fermentation process, it's possible to use piletas, little batches for pits.
Small pits.
Exactly, in the ground or in the top of the ground. And they use wood for the fermentation. Obviously, it's possible to use natural yeast or industrial yeast or chemical yeast. The important thing is wood or skin for the animals or pits, right, with the concrete. Obviously, the quality of the flavors and the aromas, they change with a different process of fermentation, because you have different type and quality of water. You have different type of wood. Maybe you have mesquite or huizache or roast pepper, like a pirul. No, depends of the suppliers of a wood, right? And you have different yeast. For me, it's a sign of a producer's artisanal, because they don't use chemical yeast, right? They use natural yeast in the zones, and you have water, wood for the tinas, or concrete. You have a type of water, mineral water, or natural water, or well water, depends on for the reserve, or at the top of the rains, you know? And you have a natural yeast and the type of agave. That's the most important step in the natural and artisanal and ancestral process, right? And then the last step for the distillation, in artisanal you use copper, right? You use copper, something like this, copper, and for the condensation process, it's possible to use concrete or wood, or that's it, right? That's a big difference between industrial and ancestral, right?